It was calm. That's what struck me first. That strange, unsettling calm. My thoughts were clear, my body steady, but somewhere, deep inside, I knew something wasn't right. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had forgotten something important. It gnawed at me like a phantom itch, always just out of reach, no matter how hard I tried to grasp it. I couldn't remember what it was, only that it existed. But could I even trust that? Maybe it was all in my head. The silence around me seemed to agree. Too quiet, too still. I stood in the hallway looking around my apartment, if it could even be called that anymore. The walls seemed normal, familiar even, but somehow different. I knew this place, but I didn't know it. The kind of space that feels like it belongs to someone else. A version of myself that I can't remember. I went through the motions of the day, brushing my teeth, making coffee, staring out of the window at a world I barely recognized. It was all normal, yet wrong. Like everything had been moved half an inch to the left when I wasn't looking. Maybe I was losing my mind, but it felt like something had been stolen from me, taken without my knowledge or consent. I couldn't remember it, and yet I missed it. As I stepped out into the hallway, I glanced at the door to my right. I'd never noticed it before, though that didn't seem right. It had always been there, hadn't it? I couldn't be sure. The handle was old, tarnished, as if it hadn't been touched in years. For some reason I kept walking, ignoring the urge to open it. It could wait. The hallway was longer than it should have been. It stretched on, much longer than my apartment allowed. I'd walked it 1,000 times, but today it was different. The end seemed distant, too far, like I was walking through a memory that had been stretched out, elongated by something just beyond my comprehension. I kept walking, footsteps echoing faintly, swallowed by the heavy air. There was a painting on the wall, one I didn't recognize. I slowed, staring at it. It shouldn't have been there. A landscape, maybe. Or was it abstract? My eyes couldn't quite focus on it. Each time I blinked, it shifted. The colors swirling, shapes bending, twisting into something I couldn't name. I shook my head and walked on, trying to convince myself it wasn't important. But it was. I just didn't know why. It was then that I saw her. A figure at the end of the hallway, standing perfectly still. A woman, I thought, though I couldn't be sure. Her face was turned away, her posture rigid, unnatural. Something about her, I don't know, it tugged at a part of my mind that I didn't want to touch. She felt familiar, like someone I used to know once upon a time. But the memory had slipped through my fingers, lost in the fog. As I passed her, I looked closer, hoping for recognition. Her face, blank, no expression, no acknowledgement of my presence. She didn't even blink. Her eyes were empty, hollow as if she wasn't really there at all. I wanted to stop, to ask her who she was, but I couldn't. I kept walking, feeling her gaze, if it could even be called that, lingering on me, heavy, cold. When I glanced back over my shoulder, she was gone, just like that. I couldn't remember the sound of her footsteps. Had she ever moved? The hallway didn't end, it just kept going. Door after door after door, each one slightly different from the last. One had a brass knob Another was painted in a shade of blue that seemed to shift when I wasn't looking directly at it. And all the while, that nagging sense of loss gnawed at me, growing louder. The absence was like a hole in my chest, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fill it. A door creaked open on its own as I passed, and I stopped. Just beyond it, a room sat in darkness, except for a faint, flickering light. Something told me not to go in, but I stepped closer, peering through the crack. The light pulsed like a heartbeat, irregular and wrong, casting long, shifting shadows. I backed away, suddenly aware of how cold the air had become. My breath came in short, sharp bursts, fogging up the space in front of me. I turned, eager to leave, but the hallway had changed again. It had twisted, bent in on itself, no longer the straight path it had once been. The walls closed in, or maybe they didn't. It felt like they were breathing, alive in a way that walls should never be. My head throbbed, a dull ache settling behind my eyes. I stumbled forward, pushing through the endless doors, each one more foreign than the last. The rooms behind them were empty, hollow, just like me. The familiar absence grew heavier. It dragged at my mind, pulling me down into something dark, something bottomless. I was slipping, losing my grip on reality. Maybe it was better that way. Maybe I didn't want to remember. I don't know how long I walked. Hours, days. Time had no meaning here. It all blended together like paint smeared across a canvas. The colors dull, bleeding into one another, until nothing made sense anymore. I reached a door. It was plain, wooden, with a handle that looked old, worn from use. But it was wrong. Like all the others, it didn't belong here. But neither did I. I stood there staring at it, feeling the weight of it pressing down on me. Something was behind it. I didn't know what, but I could feel it. A presence, maybe, or a memory. A piece of me that had been missing for so long, waiting on the other side. I almost opened it. I could have, but I didn't. And then I heard it. A sound, faint at first, barely noticeable, but there. A shuffle, maybe a whisper. It was coming from behind the door. My hand hovered over the handle, shaking. I wasn't sure I wanted to know what was on the other side. Sound grew louder, closer, but I didn't move. The door stayed closed, and I was done.